Friday is back and we are very excited because tonight's guest is an 11-year-old CEO and founder of Lani Luxury Candles, all handmade in Kenya, a small candle business which was started during the COVID-19 lockdown period. She is in studio with me and I will let her introduce herself.
Hi, my name is Lani and I'm 11 years old and I go to Premier Academy and I'm the CEO of Lani Luxury Candles.
You definitely don't want to miss that. Later on in the program, you can watch us live on Facebook and Twitter at TV47 Kenya, on DSTV, Zuku, Star Times and GoTV. This is a home of untold stories. Welcome to the program. My name is Karen Karimi and the sign language interpreter is Ann Wairemo. You can engage with me on my Twitter handle at Karimi_Karen. In the headlines this 19th of August.
Tonight, Jubilee says its members who have since decamped to Kenya Kwanza risk losing their seats.
If we see you moving from one end to the other, remember we had pre-election coalition agreement.
This as the deputy president receives more elected leaders who vied through other political parties. Plus, preparations are in top gear at the Supreme Court.
Lazima tupate haki, na haki ikiamuliwa na korti, hiyo ni yamwisho.
As the Azimio wing says they have a watertight case against the IEBC. Also tonight, human rights bodies paint a grim picture on the state of human rights during the electioneering period.
It is therefore unacceptable that the IEBC chair is allowed to act with such an egregious lack of regard for the rule of law, regulations and procedures.
7 people dead and many more injured. They now demand justice.
This is Friday. Welcome to the program. Now to our top story. Following Azimio la Umoja One Kenya presidential candidate Raila Odinga's rejection of the presidential results declaration on Monday, where William Ruto was named president-elect, focus now shifts to the Supreme Court. The Azimio running mate, Martha Karua, has reiterated that the coalition will be seeking justice at the Supreme Court. Flora Limuki has that report for us.
As the clock ticks towards the Monday deadline for filing the presidential petition at the Supreme Court, the Azimio la Umoja faction remains upbeat that they will get a favorable decision at the apex court.
Lazima tupate haki, na haki ikiamuliwa na korti, hiyo ni yamwisho. Hata kama hukubali kwa roho yako, lazima tutulie na tukubali uamuzi wa mwisho wa korti.
Ombi letu ni moja, mahakama isimame imara, ipeane uamuzi mwema.
While calling out the IEBC for what she says is rigging the general election, Odinga's running mate in the poll, Martha Karua, says they have a strong case against the commission and they are sure of going all the way to the presidency.
Mumeamua lakini korti itaamua kama mahesabu imeingiana au ni mahesabu ya bandia. Kwa hivyo tuwe na utulivu, na vile tumeungana hapa bila kuulizana wewe ni wa chama gani, wewe ulipigia nani kura, tuendelee na maisha.
Uchaguzi inakuja na inaenda, lakini Kenya lazima ikae gangare na ikuwe kitu moja.
The Azimio wing is said to be taking a 3-pronged approach towards the petition, with their main aim being casting doubt on the election process and its subsequent result of William Ruto being the president-elect. The team is said to be focusing on queries on the voter turnout, issues to do with voting patterns in DP strongholds, and the split within the IEBC as the attack points in the petition.
We know how the votes were suppressed. Even the tallying, the Kims. I don't want to play them. That's something with the Rigo team. But the petition will be in court.
The Supreme Court is expected to hear and determine the petition within 14 days from the date of filing. Flora Limuki, TV47.
Now, the recently witnessed crisscrossing of parties after the election is raising concern with the political circles, with the Azimio faction and its affiliate parties crying foul. The Jubilee Party now says those defecting from their parties risk losing their seats even before they are sworn in. Our reporter Chichi Josephine caught up with Jubilee Secretary General and filed the following report.
According to Kioni, who was speaking in Nakuru after meeting elected Jubilee leaders, those who have reportedly begun to shift their allegiance even before the dust from the general election settles are dishonest to the people who voted for them.
For the sake of just letting those in Jubilee know, we in Jubilee, if we get your waywardness behavior as a member of parliament or member of the county assembly, if we see you moving from one end to the other, remember we had pre-election coalition agreements, which we want to remain faithful to. And if we are to make any changes, we will make changes as a party and with the involvement of all who are concerned. Those who are already thinking of moving, and I believe, I can tell you, within Jubilee, we do not have that. It is a propaganda. Know that you risk losing your seat, whether at the county assembly or at the parliamentary seat.
This comes as the Azimio's camp spokesperson, Professor Makau Mutua, denounced the action by the President-elect William Ruto of quoting independent candidates in the last general election, saying that it is against the law. According to Makau, Ruto intends to drag the nation democracy behind. While all this was going on, the DP was receiving more elected leaders at his current residence. Those in today's courtesy call include Meru Governor-elect Karira Mwangaza and a section of leaders from Northeastern region elected under the Upia Party and the National Agenda Party of Kenya. Chichi Josephine, TV 47.
Now, the Kenya Human Rights Commission has issued a statement on the just concluded general election, detailing some failures observed during the electoral process. The Commission has condemned the chaos witnessed towards the end of tallying in Bomas of Kenya, citing that such violence from political actors must be prosecuted. The movement has also demanded for justice for 6 innocent lives lost during elections, calling for prosecution for such crimes.
10 days since Kenya headed to the polls for their democratic right, various civil rights commissions led by Angaza Movement in Haki Africa have come out to detail some human rights violations witnessed during and after the polls. Angaza Movement faulting the process, citing that some Kimskits failed to identify voters, thus denying them the right to vote.
In many cases, it took the IBC many hours to allow the use of manual register to identify voters, which often resulted in voter suppression, as disappointed aspiring voters were turned away.
In addition, the movement has slammed the IBC chairperson Wafula Chebukati for indefinitely postponing elections in Mombasa, Kakamega and other various parts of the country, terming the decision as a violation of the electoral rules for failure to hold consultations with other commissioners.
It is therefore unacceptable that the IBC chair is allowed to act with such an egregious lack of regard for the rule of law, regulations and procedures. Intimidation and harassment which the chair used cannot be the basis for justifying the postponement of an election.
In addition, they request thorough investigations to be conducted by the relevant authorities seeking justice for the innocent lives lost during the electoral process.
We are saddened by the unnecessary deaths of people in the country during the electoral period. We demand that the police and relevant authorities thoroughly investigate, prosecute and adjudicate these crimes.
Elsewhere in Mombasa County, Haki Africa organization has cited that the IBC was inadequately prepared to conduct the polls while highlighting the effects of violation of human rights.
They fell below the standards they have set in previous elections. IEBC appeared inadequately prepared on the ground to the extent of, for the first time in the history, postponement of elections of various positions in different counties.
Paul Munio, TV 47.
Also tonight, preparations are underway at the Supreme Court to hear the presidential election petition, even as the Azimio One Kenya Alliance prepares to file the petition early next week. The case is expected to be heard by a bench of 7 judges, with all parties having 7 days to present evidence. The burden of proof lies with the Azimio side, who will be required to show that the presidential vote was not free and fair.
Just like in 2013 and 2017, a legal showdown is looming as both the Azimio and the IEBC teams prepare to bring top legal guns at the Supreme Court for the presidential petition. And as Raila Odinga's team makes last-minute preparations to present a watertight petition against this year's presidential election results, the judiciary is also leaving nothing to chance to ensure the 14-day proceedings go smoothly. All parties seem prepared with their lawyers, even as the Kenya Kwanza side says it is prepared to battle in court through its legal team, among them senior counsel Ahmed Nasir. Some of the lawyers expected to represent the Azimio side include James Orengo, Otiende Amolo, Mutula Klonzo Jr., Daniel Maanzo, Peter Kaluma, among others. The petition will be heard and determined by a 7-judge bench led by Chief Justice Martha Karua. Others will be Philomena Mwilu, Mohamed Ibrahim, Smokin Wanjala, Njoki Ndungu, Isaac Lenaola and William Ruto. 24 hours after filing the petition, the petitioner, whom is Azimio faction, is supposed to serve the respondent with the petition, who in this case is the IEBC and its chair Wafula Chebukati. The Kenya Kwanza team will also likely be served as respondents. A response to the petition should be filed and served within 4 days after the respondent is served. In 24 hours after a response to the petition is filed, a response should be filed and served to the necessary party. Any additional court applications, also known as interlocutory, should be filed and served within 24 hours after the response to the petition is filed. 24 hours after the date of filing in service of an interlocutory application, a response to the interlocutory application should be served to a third party 24 hours from the date of filing a response to the petition. A pre-trial conference will be held 8 days after the date of filing the presidential election petition. Immediately after the pre-trial conference, hearing of the petition will take place in the Supreme Court. The petition will then be determined 14 days from the day it was filed by way of a majority vote from the judges. If the apex court rules in favor of the IEBC, then the president-elect will be sworn in after 7 days. If it allows the petition, then it is likely to order for a fresh vote in 60 days. Waris Kimathi, TV47, Nairobi.
Now, to a rather unfortunate incident. 2 people have been confirmed dead in a road accident in Radat along Marigat-Nakuru Road, Baringo County, after the 14-seater Nissan Matatu they were traveling in had a tire burst and rolled, killing the driver and a student on the spot. 12 others passengers sustained injuries, most of them being pupils and students who were resuming school. Now, the injured were rushed to Marigat Sub-County Hospital before being rushed to Baringo County Referral Hospital for further treatment.
At the most, our students, almost all of them, and then they were in critical condition. 2 unconscious, and then around 10 to stable. So I referred 2 of them, and then bring them to Baringo Referral Hospital. So from what we heard, we were told there was a tire burst of the Nissan, which rolled severally, which led to death of the driver. Driver died and 1 student.
Tumekuwa na ajali mingi hapo. Tumepoteza watu wengi sana. Hapo especially Radat. Tumepoteza madriver wenzangu. Halafu sasa tunaona hapo wanafunzi tumepoteza. So tunaomba tu watu hapo. Na especially naomba serikali tena aanze kuweka bams hapo. Radat imekuwa kama salga tu, haina tofauti. Imetumalizia watu wengi. Kila mtu ako na usuni hapa sana. I think kama drivers wenzangu kama wangekuwa hapo wajionee wenyewe venye iko, I wish wangekimbia namna hiyo kabisa. Naomba sana wenye tumepoteza, naomba pole, lakini wasi madriver wenzangu tuwe tunaenda polepole na serikali waangalie bams hapo kwa Radat jameni.
Also tonight, internally displaced persons living in tents at Kianjogo village, Laikipia County, are calling for the government to hasten the process of allocating them land, claiming it is their right. And as Elizabeth Atieno now reports, the IDPs are now battling hunger, thirst and harsh weather conditions.
Sites that welcome you to Kianjogo village, Laikipia County. Thousands of tents were the victims of the 2007 post-election violence who fled from Molo have been calling home for over a decade. All they hoped for was a better life when they relocated to this camp. But 15 years down the line, their hopes and dreams remain shattered. We come across this group of women preparing a meal for their families. However, the small size of the cooking pot and the jerrycan is a clear indication that these residents are grappling with extreme hunger.
Kurudi ni shinda, kwenda ni shinda, kukura ni shinda, kuoga ni shinda, maji hakuna. Hata kila mtu anakaa hata karibu mwezi mzima bila kuoga.
Hunger is not the only challenge in this IDP camp. Here, residents are forced to endure the harsh weather conditions occasioned by rains and cold that have since posed a serious health risk to children and the elderly, a situation made worse by the deplorable state of their tents.
Tulikuwa na shindwa kukiwa na waadhiriwa wengine watu 2022 na hao wengine watu 7 to 8 hatujamalizika, tutaenda mpaka wapi ama tutafika mpaka wapi?
And even as these displaced persons try to find solace in singing, they still cannot seem to get rid of their miserable lives, especially every time they remember that they have no land to call their own.
Na sasa hii ni serikali ya tatu imepita. Kwa sababu ya Kibaki ilipita, ya Uhuru imepita, sasa tuko katika serikali ya tatu. Na bado maagano yako ati serikali itatuhudumia. Ni wakati gani ikiwa sio wakati huu?
These displaced persons are now calling on the government to address their issues and promote peace across the country. Elizabeth Atieno, TV 47.
Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha has issued a stern warning to school heads who are sending home students due to lack of money. According to the CS, most Kenyans are grappling with high cost of living, and so are parents. However, parents have decried the high cost of living, questioning Magoha on the criteria used to select schools as polling stations. Chepto Boet with the details.
As many learners remain at home due to their parents' lack of school fees, and amid reports that some school heads are sending learners back home for fees just a day after resuming studies, Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha has warned of serious consequences on school heads who will go against the government directive of accommodating struggling learners in schools. Speaking after commissioning CBC classrooms in Nairobi, Magoha says most of the people in the country are grappling with the high cost of living, and head teachers should instead discuss with the parents on how the monies will be paid.
I am very disturbed because in Makueni there's a school called Matiko Secondary School where the school principal is sending children home to collect 1,000 shillings for enhancement of their tuition. That is criminal. I have sent my officers there.
This comes as a section of parents continue to decry the high cost of living that has made them unable to pay school fees for their children in good time. They say the already bad situation has been made worse by the recent closure of schools, which caught them unaware.
Na kama mzazi tuko na shida sana kwa hii maneno ya shule kufungwa na kufungua. Na uchumi imepanda, hakuna mahindi, tuko na njaa, na sasa watoto wanaenda leo, sasa juzi wenye matokeo yalikuja wanafungua shule. Hiyo ilitupata tu kwa kabla.
Parents now want elections in future be held away from schools, saying they have adversely affected the education calendar, with parents bearing the financial brunt.
Katika mambo ya polling station kuweza kuwa katika mashule imeweza pia kuadhiri, unakuta ya kwamba kuna mambo mengi. Unakuta labda watoto wangekuwa wakiendelea na masomo, lakini unakuta ya kwamba kwa sababu ya hiyo mambo ya polling station na watu kupigia kura katika mashule, unakuta ya kwamba inakuwa challenge kama inaweza kupatikana mahali pengine.
Chipto Boyd, TV47, Nairobi.
Now, a section of residents of Wajir are up in arms over the garbage menace in the town. They now fear for their lives and are asking the incoming administration to intervene.
These are the scenes that welcome you to the heart of Wajir town. Heaps of garbage can be spotted on the roads, most of which is said to have come from the marketplace. A state of affairs that angered the residents who accused of Wajir County government of what they say is negligence and laxity in executing their responsibilities.
Wajir County sukuisi vile mnambiona hapa uchafu imetabakaa kila kona ya Wajir County. Ninataka kuwahimiza idara ya municipality iangalie town usafi yake, because ukiona hapa sasa uchafu imechoma, unaona moshi inatokea. Hii inaweza sababisha ugonjwa kwa wakati kama huu ambaye tuko kwa wakati wa ukame.
The angry residents faulted the county government for not addressing the menace despite their incessant calls for intervention since the beginning of the campaign trail. They now fear for their health.
Watu wanachoma hapo ndani ya area chafu, huko kwa melekezi pia wanachoma chafu. Tunasema hii county, kwani national government na county government haifanye kazi. Mwaka hii 5 tuliumia, tunaona shida mingi sana. Sasa hata hii chafu kuchoma ndani ya town imekuwa shida. Kwa hivyo wananchi wanabeba ugonjwa kubwa sana. Nilikuwa naomba municipality na county council afanye kazi mzuri.
With the new governor in place, the residents requested a new and modern way of waste management system which they want fast-tracked.
Kuna ugonjwa mingi sana inaweza tendeka hapa. Mara tukisema kwa serikali yetu saizi ituendelee takataka, na naona wakanjo wamesahau kazi yao.
They are also appealing to fellow residents to take collective duty to ensure the sanitation of the town is improved. Hashim Jimal reporting for TV47, Wajir County.
Will be done about that very sad state indeed. Now, let's get sporty. And in sports, there are popular games as well as minority sports. Well, chess is one of the latter. However, due to its complex nature, it is only engaged in by members of the upper echelon in the society. Now, not until recently, when the game gradually started to find its way to the common man. A situation most of the participants in the sport say originated from a wrong perception that chess is only for the intellects. Our sports reporter, Betty Mwakideo, talked to some of the chess stakeholders in the country and now informs us chess is not a spectator game, rather a participant's game. Here are the intrigues of chess.
Chess is a game that has sought after its reputation so much that it became acclaimed by many nations in the world to a point its origin became highly debatable. However, the history of chess can be traced back from the 6th century in India, where the name chess originated from the Indian game chaturanga, meaning 4 divisions. The game spread throughout Asia and Europe before it eventually evolved to what we know as chess today. The game of chess gained its competitive character and concrete rules, growing popularity among the people as the modern game of critical thinking and problem solving. In Kenya, the sport remains unpopular and underdeveloped. However, a lot has changed since its introduction in the country.
We have the rook, the knight, the bishop, king.
To help us understand the sport, we met with one of the successful chess players in the country, 2-time Nairobi Open chess champion Gideon Jihinga.
I also do business on the side, but I take chess very seriously. It's a very big part of my life.
Hinga has represented the country in various international competitions and is one of the 10 players who represented the country at the 44th Chess Olympiad competition, which was held earlier this month in Chennai, India.
I've been lucky to represent Kenya in the national team. In Maputo, All-African Games 2011, in Turkey, I've won several titles, several trophies.
Despite being a veteran player, Hinga runs an initiative that mentors children. His main aim, he says, is that one day the sport will be recognized in learning institutions.
The challenge we have is chess is a bit costly. So in schools, public schools, there's a gap. And that's one of the things I'm passionate about, looking for ways of bringing chess to everybody.
Kenya, however, has started producing talented youth players who are taking part in various championships, as the Secretary General at the Chess Kenya, John Mukabi, narrates.
Right now we have 3 gold medalists from last year's Africa
individual schools championship, which was held in Nairobi, Kenya.
According to Mukabi, the government, through the Ministry of Sports, Culture and Heritage, has done its best in supporting the sport by allocating funds in each financial year.
Ever since the Sports, Arts and Social Development Fund was formed, this is one of the best things to have ever happened to sports in Kenya. And chess has been very much supported.
Thankfully, the government has been sponsoring with the sports fund, so we have had major tournaments. Our players are going abroad.
However, it is hard to find sponsors who are willing to come on board and support the game, since it's not a spectator game, a situation Mukabi says he would like to see changed for the better.
You know, football, people are there cheering, it's more fun to watch. And then, of course, always exposing players to the international circuit means they have to be traveling every few months.
Brian Kidula is one of the chess fanatics who are optimistic the game will be recognized even in the grassroots. He is the founder of the Bring Your Own Board BYOB tournament, which is held on every last Friday of the month.
Players come out here to have fun at the same time, get rating points. But this is the speed chess, which is called Blitz, where a game, each player has got 5 minutes to finish the game.
Despite the many challenges dodging the development of the sport in the country, mainly attributed to the perception that it is meant for the elite, chess continues to gradually gain ground in the country, perhaps a milestone that will be catalyzed by the provision of chess boards and trainers in various informal settlements where the less fortunate will interact with the game and someday take it up professionally.
Slowly coming into that, to a place where players can actually enjoy living off chess.
National Federation has been giving good awards to the winners, like the previous 2 national championships. You have had the champion driving off in a car, and there are bills to be made. And the rewards coming from chess now, because of lack of sufficient sponsorship, are not commensurate to the needs that someone has. So for it, it's more of a hobby.
In the region, we are a powerhouse, but we have so much potential. Of course, the game is only developing, and so much more is to come.
Since time immemorial, chess has been associated with intelligence. Most people have always thought chess is for geniuses, while others have the perception that engaging in the sport for long will increase their intelligence quotient. But is this really the case?
Any engagement of the mind, whether be it chess, be it crosswords, be it exams, be it any pursuit that is mental, it helps your mind. And chess more so, because chess is very, it's like a full mental workout.
You have to think about the next move you're going to make on the board, and therefore your ability to reason and draw conclusions based on the situation that's arisen on the board helps you to be a good problem solver in life.
Betty Mokideu, TV 47 Sports.
Awesome story there. Thank you so much, Betty, for that. We take a short break. My guest is in studio tonight. She's just 11 years old. There she is. Hi, Lani.